meantime, let's get some messaging done here. Is that a good enough segue for you?
That's a good one.
David Gray with Airtext, you've made tremendous strides in building inexpensive, by aviation standards, accessible messaging. Tell us what's going on with Airtext.
So originally when we came out with Airtext, Jim, we had the standard Airtext, which was just SMS messaging. Works anywhere in the world from any altitude, and it's very, very fast. So as far as the customer was concerned, it was an experience just like they would see on the ground. Very, very fast text messaging. So then we came out with Airtext Plus, and Airtext Plus allowed us to also do phone calls. So again, we were the low cost provider. It's 5 cents a text message. You can have 16 people on board texting at the same time. We have one configuration where there's 64 people texting simultaneously. Or you can make a phone call for $1.60 a minute anywhere in the world at any altitude. So someone could be down in the islands, or we've seen airplanes over in Europe and down in Mexico, and they can make a phone call and always stay in touch with the people back home. So that's been a lot of fun. And so what's happened is this last year the product has morphed more into a data link, and we're seeing that the pilots are using the product for a lot of activities up front. So initially we thought, it's a passenger device, and now we're seeing it as a pilot device more and more. So what did we do? We worked with the FAA. It took me a year, and I was able to get my servers certified, and so now we can deliver digital ATIS up to the pilot. Significance of that is that normally what we have to do when we're flying is we have to wait until we're within radio range to get the digital ATIS information. That can be a problem because, as you know, during the descent we're really task saturated, and to have to listen to something that might take up to 3 minutes long when there's a lot of other things going on. Maybe we're single pilot, or maybe we've got a young pilot next to us, and we're just task saturated. So we can get that information. We get up to cruise, we can get that information, and sometimes that information is an hour old, but we can get that information, kind of preload our approach, and have a good idea what runway we're going to use. It's information Bravo or Charlie, whatever. So that's kind of neat. So then we took it a step further. We said, well, METARs are about an hour old. If I'm flying across country and it takes me several hours, I don't want to look at information that was an hour. I'd like to see information that's current. So we're able to get ASOS up to the airplane. And I just got back. I was up in Washington, D.C. I'm working with the FAA Next Gen, and AOPA is helping me. And we think that we can get 5-minute to 1-minute data up to the airplane. And so in your hands, you have relevant information. So this data link
That's a significant improvement, especially when you've got a hot weather situation at hand.
Oh yeah, there's things that come through. One time I was flying with a friend into Memphis, and surprised they had weather. So we were coming from...
When doesn't Memphis have weather?
I know, exactly. And so we were on a 3-hour flight from Colorado Springs. We're coming into Memphis. It just so happened that FedEx was having their big push, and the ATIS changed 3 times in that descent. And so it's very helpful to have it all written down, and you don't have to listen to the radio. You just get it. It comes up. It just takes seconds to get it up to the cockpit. So we took it one step further. We said, well, what else are we doing during the approach that's a distraction from flight? Most people that are flying a corporate airplane, they're making contact with an FBO. And so they're trying to say, okay, this is so-and-so, I'm going to be landing at this time, I'm going to need this fuel load, some catering, some rental cars. Again, this is the wrong time to be doing that. So we came out with a product called FBO Link, which is a free product. It works on our Airtext. If you have an airplane that's got any sort of Wi-Fi, it works. And so we made that available to everybody, and they can text message to the CSR, the FBO's customer service person. And that can be done once you level off, because we look at our flight computer, it says, oh, we're going to be there at this hour. This is what our fuel needs are going to be. So all that information can be done miles out. You could be going across the ocean, you could be hours out from your destination.
Outstanding. Where does the inspiration for products like this come from? This is one of the things I wanted to talk to people about this week, because we've seen a continuous series of innovative efforts. Some work, some don't work. Obviously, you're working because you just keep improving and keep adding to it. But where does this come from? Is it more from a standpoint of your own experience in the air, or is it a situation where you're working in a community and they're able to reach out to you and tell you what they need?
Well, it's a little bit of both, but mostly from the customers. Mm-hmm. I've always had customer-centric companies. This one is just like my last company. And I spend a lot of time in the hangars. I meet people on airplanes. I fly with them. And I get to see what they're doing, where their frustrations are, and some things that could be used with some current technology that's available maybe on the commercial side, because we know, consumer electronics changes at light speed, and if we can incorporate some of that technology into the airplane, then we've done a good thing. Airtext by itself is, sure, we make a box, but the integral part is your phone. And so from your phone or your tablet, you're taking and you're connecting through Iridium satellite to that person on the ground, mm-hmm. or that dispatch.
The best part is Iridium right now is an uncommon value with tremendous capabilities, but give it another year and it's just going to rock everybody's world.
Yes, exactly 1 year is what they're saying. As you know, the next satellite's supposed to go up this weekend. Mm-hmm. That each satellite launches 10 more, each rocket launches 10 more satellites. So we'll be very close to, they say the 70 satellites will be up by the end of the year. They're saying everything fully functional by the end of the first quarter of 2019.
Pretty amazing stuff. I've been watching that project avidly from a number of standpoints, especially since we've worked with Elon over a number of years, and just we're getting all kinds of a kick out of what's happening right now with SpaceX and various projects. But Iridium chose well this time. They backed the right horse.
They did a good job, and the product is being endorsed by our government, by our military, and they're going to do phenomenal things with it. So we're excited because our bandwidth is going to expand mm-hmm. dramatically, and the capabilities that we're going to be able to provide to people are the things that maybe we were missing in the past. Mm-hmm. We see a path where we will have email capability. Mm-hmm. We see the path where now you can use your own phone and not a headset to make your phone call. And multiple people on the airplane will be able to do this rather than just a single person.
What kind of training is required in getting the airplane's passenger complement up to speed on this?
Well, you need to have an app. So we have an Airtext app.
There you go.
And so you need to get that app before you take off.
Okay.
That's the big part. The app, we took a lot of time and effort, our engineers, to make it very simple. So it's easy, it's intuitive for people to use Airtext. So once they get the app on their phone, it's simple. The neat thing about where we're headed is you won't need an app. You'll be able to use iMessaging, the talk functions of Skype or WhatsApp. All that stuff is going to be available, and that's just natural at that point.
Interesting. The FAA has been at times just the best ally to this industry, and at other times not so much. How has your exposure been to the FAA over the course of this project?
Well, there's two parts of it. I would say that there's the old guard, the people that have been certifying products in the past. Mm-hmm. I don't know if you remember, but in the old days, Wi-Fi on an airplane was like, oh, the Black Plague. Yep. We don't want Wi-Fi. It's going to take the airplane down. Well, now you know that people have Wi-Fi built into their, we were talking about Avidyne before, mm-hmm. Garmin, they have it right into their panel right now. Mm-hmm. Garmin uses Bluetooth. So when we came out with Bluetooth, they were kind of seasoned with that, so it kind of made it a little bit easier with us, but Bluetooth is actually a lower power. I still get some kickback from people, some people in the field that say, oh, I don't want my pilots texting. Well, if you know how airlines operate, they use a product called ACARS, and ACARS is a messaging system.
It's very expensive texting.
It is. It is very expensive, but it's very integral to provide to them what the airline wants to do as far as weather is concerned and some flight routing type things. We have some things that I hope to show you at Oshkosh and other places, but we see this all just evolving because the next gen folks have embraced this, and they're actually encouraging us to get this 1 minute, 5 minute data up to the airplane, and to allow this pre-departure clearances, where we think we'll be able to work with them to get it down to pre-departure clearances at non-towered airports.
Oh my, okay.
Oh, it's awesome. It is really, and I have to say that there is a new sense from the FAA of being partnered, and the AOPA are helping us partner with the industry to get this done.
Oh, there's definitely been some attitude change at FAA.
Yes.
It's not as pervasive as it needs to be, but one thing at a time. And let's face it, we got the camel's nose under the door here, so hooray. Where does this need to go from here? Where do you see, without giving everything away to the competitors here, but where do you see your best potential growth and product lines as they're being developed?
I think that the industry has been reluctant to make a decision because there's so many things going on, and the costs are so high. So our biggest hurdle has always been, we need some sort of internet. Well, once we get to Iridium Next, we're there.
Yeah.
So we have a path with our current product.
We've solved the bandwidth issue.
Yes, yes, and so we think that that's going to be a game changer. At Oshkosh, I will show you a consumer product that we have made that will now take this down to the Cirrus or to the Baron or the Bonanza airplane. So,
I had the Twin Comanches.
Oh, absolutely. That's yours. Yes, I know.
There you go. Outstanding. Run me through a typical day using an Airtext, excuse me, an Airtext product. How it's utilized, where it's utilized, and how it affects, excuse me, good grief, folks, a flight.
Okay. So it starts on the ground. We actually have an app. It's a free app. How many times do people give you something for free? But I have something for free for everybody called FBO Link. So if you go out and get FBO Link from Apple or Android, you could actually start there. So what we can do with FBO Link, it's an app, you open it up, there's a weather section there. You could request digital ATIS on the ground. So, let's say you're going to a big airport, you can get that. You can get the METARS, TAS, and ASOS that I mentioned. If you're at a business meeting and you're going to pick up your airplane from the FBO, you could text message the FBO with that. So it starts there. Then you get out to the airplane, you've got Airtext on board. You take off, you get up to cruise. Let's say you're just single pilot. You open up the app, it will automatically tell your favorites. So let's say you'd like your wife to know, you'd like some of the people at your office to know that you're flying. Just by opening the app, it'll send out a message. It'll say, Jim is flying right now. Please respond to this message. That's so that people don't think they're getting spam. So now you've opened up a door for them to communicate. And so you might say, hey, I've got this phenomenal tailwind. I'm going to be there 20 minutes early. Now, if you get there 20 minutes early and nobody's there, that's a bad thing, But if you have, yeah, I mean, you like it the other way, where if you're a little bit late, but then they're there. But that may be an indication. I had a friend that flew the other day. He flew from St. Simon's Island to Addison, Texas. It was a 3.5-hour flight. He, single pilot. He did a lot of business. He did 100 text messages while he was flying. Okay, $5, but he closed thousands of dollars of deals with just that. So it's not uncommon for people to pay for the boxes and the service in just one flight. And then, of course, when we land, we send out a message to everybody that you had sent a message that you were flying or had communicated to, that you've landed, contact you on the other, on your normal texting.
Boy, that's quite an impact on any single flight. Outstanding. And I love the idea of being able to send 100 messages and only wasting a $5 bill.
Right.
There you go.
Right.
Can't beat that.
Right.
Outstanding. Now, I see you brought some of the gear that you're using here. Explain how this is being utilized, if you could.
Okay, I'm a gadget and gizmo guy.
Yep.
So every year, if we're not making 5 to 7 new things, you know, I haven't really made my pay as far as I'm concerned. So the first thing I'll show you, because we have Airtext is used on both yachts and airplanes.
Okay.
We made a small, this is about the size of a USB stick, but we made an extender antenna. So you can have 32 of these spread throughout an airplane. So who would ever fly an airplane? Well, Air Force One, or you know, a lot of head of state airplanes have a lot of different compartments. So in order for the Bluetooth to get around those compartments, we have that extender antenna. Well, what if your phone is you know, away and you're not near your phone? How do I know if I had a message if I don't look at it? So I said, well, there's got to be a way that we can enunciate. We have the way for someone on the ground from a dispatch to be able to send a message and light up a light on the cockpit. But if they don't want to do that, if they don't want to do an install, we came up with some new technology that I haven't seen in this industry, and I've been in, now it's 35 years. But this is a small enunciator we made. And what's cool about this is e-ink technology. So anybody that has a Kindle is familiar with e-ink. Let me just show you what that little component looks like. This is the e-ink display. So as you notice, there's no power on this, but that message, the last information that you were put on this enunciator is there. Mm-hmm. So we've said, how do we do this?
And that stuff is so readable. That's the part I've always, I still have, incredible. I mean, I have my reader and all, but the original Kindle, I mean, you can read that anywhere, anyhow. Right. The only thing you can't do is submerge the darn thing.
Well, we don't suggest that, no. But this is meant, has 2 watch batteries in it. It'll last 6 months. You can literally peel and stick this onto the instrument panel or back in the cabin, and you could see, oh, so-and-so has so many messages, you know, and then once it's done, it erases the person's name and the messages. So, well, okay, we do things on yachts, and also, what if you have more people or more information? So, I mentioned that we're getting weather up to the cockpit. Mm-hmm. From your destination, we can pull your weather, your destination location, and a little, you know, depiction of the weather, and what the temperatures will be. And these are all the people that have messages waiting. So, this is communicated to the device. They have a Bluetooth radio receiver in here, right? And our box is a Bluetooth transmitter. It was certified by the FAA as a Bluetooth server, so it's pretty cool. But everything relates to your phone or your tablet. And just think, you know, I never thought I would have $1,000, you know, phone in my. It's a computer, but it's in your pocket. But this is so powerful, and this changes every year. It gets better and better. So it's an exciting industry. 35 years, I love it.
Outstanding. Where can people get more information on the product line, and especially how they can apply it to their own aircraft operations?
Yes. So the website is airtext.aero.aero, and then we also have another one, send.aero, which applies to some of the military projects we do, plus some of the marine projects we do.
So you're working in the defense industry. I mean, they've got to be looking at this like manna from heaven at this point.
We offer some things that whenever you go into a retrofit application, they always forget something, or there's new technology that comes out, and so you have to figure out a way to make this play in a lot of things. And that's the industry I've always been in, and I understand that, you know, there's a way to get there. It's just connecting some dots and making it happen.
And again, you said you'll have even more information and more to talk about at Oshkosh.
Yes.
We're definitely going to have to get together there again.
We will.
You always have the best toys. David Gray, we enjoyed very much hearing what's the latest at Airtext. We'll look forward to seeing what's coming up down the line. And at some point, what we really need to do is take one of my videographers and run a flight with you and just see all the different ways in which this product manifests itself in the corporate and personal aircraft environment, and see what it can do for the folks that are currently trying to navigate their way from one point to the next and stay in communication all the way.
And a twin Comanche, or?
I'll take whatever we can get. We'll see what it. Maybe call our buddy Alan Clapmeyer and borrow an Eclipse for a little bit.
That'd be fun.
That would be fun. Alrighty, we thank you so much.
Aero-News Network's coverage of the 61st Annual AEA International Convention and Trade Show, live from Las Vegas, is brought to you in part by the following sponsors.
Avidyne is the pilot-centric innovator. If you look at Avidyne's 20-plus year history, we had the first moving map, full color, that had everything on it. We were the first ones to do a primary flight display for general aviation. Avidyne has lots of opportunities and things in the works that will continue the leadership role we played in the past of coming up with new concepts and always having the best user interface to them.
Today's pilots must have power for electronic flight bags, tablets, iPads, and communication devices. The TA102 dual USB charging port delivers more power with less hassles. Available from your local avionics dealer.